Topic number 2. Let's talk Ghostbusters. Ivan Reitman, the producer of Ghostbusters movies, going all the way, and many other films, going all the way back to the original Ghostbusters and the sequel. And he was a producer on this newest Ghostbusters reboot that Paul Feig did, although Paul Feig was the main creative, he was the one that basically did the whole thing, from story to directing to everything, has stated about doing multiple Ghostbusters films for Sony Pictures, including an animated. The quote is, according to IO9, "We certainly would have loved to have a larger hit," and they're talking about the reboot. But considering the last film was almost 30 years ago, it really did extremely well. I think the film cost too much, frankly, and that's the real issue. I personally had other points of view in terms of where the film should go, and it was kind of a continuous conversation with Paul Feig about that. But Paul was the filmmaker on this one, and he's a very talented director. I wanted to give him enough room to do the film he thought it should be. I think Paul Feig is a very brilliant guy when it comes to comedy. I think as Ghostbusters as a kind of realistic sci-fi comedy in there, and this was all comedy first with the other areas tacked on. That's just my opinion, but anyway, we'll get into what you guys think here in a second. Anyway, as far as what's coming up, we've jumped into an animated film after the last movie, and we're developing live action films. That's plural. I want to bring all these stories together as a universe that makes sense within itself. Part of my job right now is to do that. So all these movies, including the next animated one that's supposed to come out between 2019 and 2020, are going to fit in a shared universe. Wow, what a unique and novel idea. It's almost like other people should start trying this thing out. I've been all over
I've been waiting
place.
for comics and Star Wars to do this for years.
TV shows, everything. It's like shared universe is like that's just everybody's doing that right now. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but it's just like it seems like the go-to, the crutch for everybody.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about this?
It's interesting that So the idea that they're all going to this is all going to be centered around one standardized universe. I don't know if you're trying to balance out like that an animated with a live action. And okay, let me take a step back here first. Whenever I watched Ghostbusters, it was always because it was the cast and them being them, less than the fact it was a bunch of people out trying to capture ghosts and put them in a big bank vault.
Right.
And I think what I saw when I saw the reboot was that it was almost trying to recapture that, whereas in the past the originals you saw Aykroyd, you saw Murray, you saw help me out here,
Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, I can't remember the name of the guy that was also
Harold Ramis.
Yes,
yeah,
Harold,
thank you.
The guys these were the comedians of their time, and this was, to me, like when I'm watching that film, that was more about those guys coming together for a project that was fun. It, like I said, the premise was it was interesting, but I went to see those people on screen. What I saw with the reboot was almost kind of the same thing, where we kind of have more contemporary comedians of our time. Yeah.
Just doing their thing.
Exactly, yeah. And just, captured within.
But the way that the film was shot was very different. I think the original Ghostbusters, the first couple were shot like a sci-fi movie, and this was shot like a comedy. You know what I mean? Like the way it was shot. Like in the original ones, everyone else in the world seemed like realistic. And then it was your four main protagonists that were kind of off, that was kind of funny to watch these little off characters in this regular world. In the Ghostbusters reboot, everyone's fucking wacky. The tour guide is ridiculous. The people that come in that talk from the mayor's office are ridiculous. You know what I mean? There's no sense of you don't get no contrast where these people are funny because they're in a realistic world and they're acting abnormal because everyone just acts like that. And that's basically how all comedies most are shot today. Everything from every Paul Feig movie to all the ones with Melissa McCarthy, Bridesmaids. I mean, they're all like that now.
Everybody's just a character.
Everyone's just a character, which is just what comedies are like right now, which is fine, but it was just so different in tone. That was one of the things that got me the most. It didn't feel like a Ghostbusters movie because that, to me, was one of the most pivotal elements. I thought some of the stuff was funny. I had another point. Matt, what's your thoughts on this?
I just saw it recently. I didn't think it was a bad movie. It kind of was more of a Scooby-Doo than it was a Ghostbusters for me.
That's a good metaphor right there.
But no, I thought it was decent. The characters were played well, but I mean, I think you're right. I mean, this is their style of comedy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of theirs to, or it was either written for them specifically, or just allowed them a lot of freedoms to act the way they wanted to act.
Right. It's pretty much Paul Feig's recipe, which can be good, but just here, ad lib all you want to. Let's capture some funny stuff of you being you.
Yeah, hearing that there's going to be sequels and stuff. Are they sequels, or are these
We don't
new
know.
movies? Or?
We really don't know. All they said is multiple films into a shared universe. And let me stop on this point. Shared universe. When I think shared universe, I think multiple different properties that are converging on one thing. When we talk about one franchise, shared universe, well, that's just called sequels. You know what I mean? I think that this is really a lot more clickbait than anything else. It's like saying Ghostbusters 1 and 2 are a shared universe. Well, no shit. They're sequels. Yes, they're in the same universe. We're not talking about Ghostbusters meets up with Hellboy here, you know? This is Ghostbusters, a couple or at least a few live action movies, and an animated one that will simply take place in the same universe. Well, the original Ghostbusters animated cartoon was technically in the same universe. It was a sequel to the series. That doesn't sound like anything that to me would be considered newsworthy as shared universe. Maybe the animated movie that they're going to do is going to be done to tie into and draw in a different segment of the audience, you know, maybe more family focused, more kid aspect, whereas the films could be more adult comedy, adult humor related, even though they're taking place with the same characters. But this whole shared universe, the more I think about it with Ghostbusters, I'm just like, why are you even saying that?
Well, I mean, because there is some wiggle room as far as what they can do conceptually by establishing a universe. Obviously, the big thing is, you have these people with proton packs capturing ghosts. You could spear it off to other properties, like maybe, well, here's for the kiddie audience, here's one where a little girl befriends a ghost. Another one, here's maybe like a guy who hates his job. Here's another ghost that loved their job. Oh, aren't they a funny pair?
Right.
So you can kind of expand on the concept of, essentially all it is just saying ghosts exist.
I know. Really.
That's your universe. But so yeah, you're right. That is kind of loose. It's playing fast and loose with that term, universe.
We're gonna have a Flash universe on the CW that's gonna involve multiple episodes of the show. Okay, but it's in a shared universe. We're thinking 22 episodes a year, but all in the same universe.
This is the Monday universe, which is totally different from the Wednesday universe.
We'll also call it season 1.
Right, exactly. You know? Would you guys want to see a sequel of what we got from the Paul Feig movie? Would you rather that they start over? Would you rather they moved on to a different cast? What would you guys like to see out of an approach from this? Because I agree. I didn't think that the movie was bad. I have no desire to see more of it.
Well, that's kind of the general reaction to everybody. I mean, Matt, kind of your take on that was pretty much what everybody kind of agrees on. They were, it's not terrible. It wasn't bad.
Because
terrible.
if they're going to continue with the same cast, I don't see them changing the tone of the movie, right? It's going to be the same kind of comedy that we got, where everybody's wacky, a whole bunch of ad-lib humor, all that stuff. If Ivan Reitman, the producer that's gone back since the original Ghostbusters, and he's done tons of other movies, is planning this multiple movies into the future, I would love to go back to a different tone, and I don't see how we could do that without changing up the cast. Not that I wish Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig and all them to be not in the movie. I'd rather have an actual, what I consider to be a Ghostbusters movie, where it's kind of shot like a thriller sci-fi with comedy elements in it. But I don't know, what would you guys like to see?
A dark, gritty, emo Ghostbuster.
Follow the DC magic. Take that, try to bottle it up and reuse it because it's already gold.
Just scrape a little bit of that dark.
Right
into the Ghostbusters.
Zach, help us out.
Yeah. No, I like the cast. I like the 4 girls. I don't know if they made another one. Probably still wouldn't go to the theater and see it.
Right. I didn't go to the theater to see the first one. I just waited till it came home.
Yeah.
So would you rather that they kind of restarted if they kept going with these movies? Or maybe just at least, I don't know how you could do it a different tone unless you kind of did do a restart. You know?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, you could take cues from the second one. Throw them all in jail.
Right,
And
but
actually
I'm
let 'em
saying
know that
is,
there is a serious side to
To prison.
I hear you. I'm just
well,
saying.
well, I mean, to society and stuff.
do you really see them changing the tone if they're going to use the same actors, though?
Yeah, I don't see how they could.
Uh-huh.
I mean, a lot of that comedy that they have plays off the weirdness of other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be like going
And it's
from
what makes them
Schumacher's Batman to Christopher Nolan's. You know? I mean, you're like, all of a sudden, we got a serious thing with Christian Bale, and in walks Jim Carrey, talking about his nipples in the question mark shirt and spinning around with his, cacking laughter. I just don't see how you do that.
Or throw Mr. Freeze in there.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Well, I don't know. This is interesting. I don't wish this any bad luck or it not to come to fruition, I guess.
It's still so early, though.
It is.
Yeah.
And you know what? I mean, this is years down the road. The fact that it's even got this much attraction is just because you have such a high-level producer like Ivan Reitman that's done so many big movies. And this is a big franchise. You know that eventually there's going to be more Ghostbusters movies. There just is. I just think that this is kind of an interesting fork in the road to see which way that they're going to go down to, because I really think you got to kind of pick one or the other. Either keep doing what you're doing or anything else. And I love Melissa McCarthy. She's one of my favorite comedic actor or actress of all time. I love her. I think she's hilarious. I mean, that skit she did on Saturday Night Live playing the White House
Sean Spicer.
Sean Spicer.
I mean, regardless of where you are politically, that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I love her to
Chew
death.
gum and kick ass.
I just, I'd like to have a Ghostbusters, what I think of as a Ghostbusters movie, and it wasn't bad, but that just isn't what I like to see. So, are we all in agreement what I think is best? Okay, cool. I will take that non-answer as a yes. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think in the comments below. Would you be excited for more Ghostbusters movies, and how would you prefer that they did it? Let us know.